RSL Nation, welcome to the Bros, but plus two.
We got two other bros tonight.
Two
All
bros.
right.
So as you guys know, Alan, Marcos, but I'll have you guys introduce your guys yourselves. So we'll start with the bearded one. Oh, both you guys have beards.
That doesn't work. That doesn't work.
We'll start with the one with the most beard. How's that?
All right. All right. Well, I'm Keaton Harward. I am one of the founders of Los Caballeros Reales that we'll talk about a little bit later. I'm also a capo for Section 9 and 10. So if you're sitting in the South, then you probably see me around there. Yeah.
Excellent.
All right. And I'm Justin Modrell. You can call me J-Dog. I think everyone around knows me as J-Dog. And I'm also one of the founding members of Los Caballeros Reales. And yeah, like Keaton said, we're going to get more into that, but super excited to be on the show with you guys and super pumped to get going with it.
Excellent. Awesome. There's a lot of energy here, and we're going to keep it up because I'm really happy that we're all here. But we're just going to get things started right off the bat because we have probably a lot to expand on because all of us have commentary about something that we're going to talk about today. But we're going to start off with the thing that probably had all our hearts racing, had us suffering, and then had us relieved all in 90 minutes. The game Monterrey and Seattle. Just give me a first couple of sentences, each one of you. We're going to start with Marcos. We're going to go J-Dog and then Keaton. Your thoughts, just a couple sentences on that game, Marcos.
Definitely had my heart racing so much. 10 minutes in, I thought we were done. So yeah, almost heart attack.
I'm glad that you didn't have a heart attack. For those that don't know, Marcos was born with a heart condition, and I'm glad that he's still here with us. So
yeah,
thank heavens.
Keep that under control.
Yeah, seriously.
Seattle would have to pay for that.
J-Dog.
Honestly, I was nervous, but at the same time, I saw how Monterrey was against us, and that kind of calmed me down a little bit. I felt like they were going to come out, and I felt like we were going to be okay in the end.
Eaton.
I think I'm a little more optimistic than most, even about the result. I think I'm in a weird position where I have to rewatch all the games because I'm doing capo stuff the whole game. So rewatching it and looking at the stats, I think it kind of tells the story that things are coming together, even against really good teams. We are showing up, and the result wasn't quite there, but we looked really good.
It's true. It's true. And though Monterrey had me worried for, like Marco said, the first 10 minutes. I don't know how you guys were watching it, but I went to go grab myself something to eat the first 5 minutes, and I look at FOTMob, and there's already one goal by Seattle. I'm freaking out. Then there's a second goal, and that freaked me out. So at that point, I honestly had my doubts because I think if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think at differential of 3 goals, Seattle could have made it in because we had a red card.
Well, they also got a red card, but assuming they hadn't gotten a red card, then that would have eliminated us. But them winning by 4 would have kept us in. So really weird scenario.
Yeah, it was super weird. And so the first 10, 15 minutes, I had weird vibes. Like I was like, no, this can't be happening. I mean, I don't. Did you guys feel that same way? Or I mean, Keaton, you sound like you're pretty confident Monterrey was going to win.
I certainly was, but up until the 7th minute when they're up 2, it was quick and fast out of the gate, and my confidence definitely dropped for at least a little bit there. It worked out fine, but there was definitely a nervous moment.
It just seemed like in those first 10 minutes by those Seattle goals that there was just too many gaps in the midfield and the defense that Seattle was just reading that on and then just dribbling right through Monterrey and just getting good passes, especially for that Jordan Morris finish, which was an amazing one.
I was not feeling it, but J-Dog.
Yeah, honestly, like going back to what I said is like, they went up 2-0, and don't get me wrong, I think it made everyone in the RSL fan base a little nervous, right? Like, because it's like we all were so confident going into that game. We're like, oh, dude, Monterrey's gonna smash them. Next thing you know, it's 2-0 in 6 minutes, and we're like, oh, uh-oh. But in the end, from what I saw from Monterrey, I think, when they came to Salt Lake and they looked really good, right? And they looked like they just beat us in every single aspect. And I don't know, that's just kind of made me feel like Monterrey could pull this out in the end. And next thing you know, it was 2-1. Next thing you know, 2-2 after our boy Rusnak, went in and gave us a penalty, still helping us out, So I was a little nervous, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I kind of knew the skill level that Monterrey has, and I felt like they could definitely pull through, and they did. So, we're moving on to the next round.
Yeah, thank heavens. I mean, go ahead,
Yeah,
Marcos.
I didn't know if the slow start for Monterey had to do with the time and travel because they played both their games here in Salt Lake. They played one game here, sorry, and then they had to travel up to Seattle, which them playing on turf. So I don't know if that had to do with maybe the slow start for them.
Well, maybe the training too, right? Because they're not
Yeah,
in a normal training cadence where they're
yeah.
staying in the US and kind of they're not used to maybe the travel distances. I guess there's still big travel distances around Mexico, but um, it, it's hard to keep training when you're having to move between the cities and
Right.
you
This
know
is a really long road stretch for them. I mean,
yeah.
for all the Mexican teams. So
Yeah.
I feel bad for all the Mexican teams, to be honest. But what I was gonna say, I'm really glad that Monterrey won because if they didn't, the prediction time that me and Marcos did last time, we would have been embarrassed. I had a 4-0 win for Monterrey. I thought that's how bad they were gonna win. But I'm glad they scored 4. At least I got
Mm,
that right.
I think if Bertarame didn't score that PK right before halftime, I think Seattle, although it was, I think at that point it was 2-1. Um, yeah, no, it was 2-1. I think it would have been a little bit, the momentum maybe would have been with Seattle partially.
So then, question for all you guys is because we saw the CONCACAF rankings come out, Monterrey's number 1. Do they deserve number 1, or is there another team, either MLS or Liga MX, that should be number 1? Because if we see that Monterrey kind of slacked during that game, I'm not saying that no one can have a bad game, but is there a better team in this tournament than Monterrey?
I think
I
Club
mean,
America, dude.
I'm personally Team Club America. I'm a bit of a Club America supporter, so maybe a little biased, but I don't think they're far from it. I think if you just look at the results in the leagues, like they are a really top class side. I do think that the whole of those rankings are a little nonsense, right? I think we're
Mhm.
what 16,
Somewhere around there.
which put Cincinnati at number 17 and
Yeah.
Philadelphia at like 8. So, I mean, Cincinnati is, in my view, the number 1 team in MLS, and I think it's pretty undisputed at this point. And the fact that we are really solid, and I'm super happy with how things are going.
Mhm.
But to put us ahead of Cincinnati and some of the other teams in MLS that are ahead of them, it doesn't quite add up in my view.
Yeah, I don't think you can ever really trust these rankings at all. Yes, teams start out slow, like we saw in this game. So I still stick with Monterrey as the number 1 team overall in CONCACAF. Maybe a second team runner-up could be America, could be also Philadelphia, because we saw how well Philadelphia did in their group stage. So those are some other good options.
Yeah, I
And
think Club America looks awesome, right? Like, I think it's literally between Club America and Monterrey right now. I think Monterrey really came in, and I knew, they definitely had to feel pressure, right? Because you're coming in to this group with Real Salt Lake and Seattle, and you're expected to win this. Like, you are expected to win this 100%. And, I went into that game, Real versus Monterrey, and I thought we would have put a little more up of a fight. And they absolutely went out and destroyed us. And then they went out with Seattle. They had a rough start. Might be a, short week, might be the turf, might be anything, but they found their rhythm. They got it taken care of. And in the end, they won the group. And they made it known that they were, in my opinion, the best team in our group, if not the best team in the entire tournament.
Well, and that'll take us. We'll just transition right now into the whole cup, because first off, I just want to say I love this cup. I don't know if you guys are loving it, but I mean,
Absolutely.
This is probably like the best kind of competition that we've had in a long time.
Yeah, I mentioned it on our last episode. I feel like if they were to do it next year or the years to come, maybe do travel to Mexico instead of these Mexican teams just coming to the US, because it kind of sucks for them. Like we just mentioned, they're having to do all their training here and then literally just all that time and travel here.
Keaton, have you noticed if there's a different sentiment in the MLS on how they're treating this tournament?
I mean, as far as I've seen, it's top priority. It is like as important as regular season MLS games. It might even be a little bit more important. From my perspective, it's a big deal, and it's something that we should all be taking note of and showing up to and supporting. I'm watching other games too. Like there's MLS this year. It's been really hard to watch other games because they're all stacked right on top of each other. So like with the games kind of spread out and these like other interesting teams that you don't normally get to see or have rarely gotten to see. We haven't played Monterrey in 12 years. So it's cool to see these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. J-Dog, I have a question for you. We've seen the debut of Messi in this cup. How has that, I mean, I don't know if you watched any of the Messi games, but how has his influence affected this cup? And now obviously it's going to affect the league after this cup is over.
Honestly, I think Messi's addition to, not only Inter Miami, but MLS as a whole has been crazy, right? Because this guy literally does not slow down. This guy literally came in first game, and I remember seeing when he got fouled outside the penalty box, and I called it right there. I'm like, he is about to score this free kick. This is literally Messi's distance to score a free kick. Sure enough, he comes out. He is just that kind of superstar that I think is going to be so great, not only for MLS, but for North America in general, for the Leagues Cup. Having someone like Messi, who has just been, honestly, one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time, and coming out and coming right in MLS, 3 goals in 2 games? Like, that's crazy. Nuts, right? And he hasn't lost a step, and I think he's shown that. A lot of people are like, oh, Messi's getting old. Oh, he's getting up there. He's washed. He proved it here, and I get it. The competition's not nearly as much as you see in La Liga, in League One. But honestly, he has not lost a step, and he is still showing why he is one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amen.
I absolutely agree with J-Dog there.
Down. You say he doesn't slow down. I think the most impressive thing about it is it doesn't seem that he speeds up. He seems to be able to do this without running. And absolutely. The fact that he can be like seemingly casually jogging in the midfield and then get the ball and go and just put people on skates, it's fun to watch.
It's amazing. Honestly, I saw him in Barcelona one time, and I was literally watching him the entire time. And I'm like, it doesn't even look like this guy's even trying. And yet he's scoring a spectacular goal in Camp Nou in front of everyone. Like, this guy, a lot of times you watch him, it doesn't even look like he's really trying. And yet he is still spectacular. And he's still scoring these golazos. And it's honestly amazing to watch. I am so happy he's in MLS because I think it's really going to help the league.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You were going to say that, Marcos? Are you speechless just talking about Messi?
I'm just speechless talking about Messi. He just brings me happiness.
So I guess while we're on the Messi and Inter Miami topic, um, we we obviously know that Inter Miami is the worst team in the MLS before this
and
cup.
and
We
somehow they get first in their group.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, we see them; they win both their games by large margins. It's not like little 1-0 wins. I mean, I guess a 2-1 win, to be honest. But the game against Atlanta was also a large win. What does that mean for them coming in the second half of the season, or whatever's left of the season, and U.S. Open Cup? And how does that affect us, or should we be looking at Inter Miami more? Keaton.
So hot take, Inter Miami has to get past Cincinnati to even potentially come to the riot. Inter Miami, granted, good wins, great goals. It's good to see him do what he's doing. They have probably the easiest group in the entire cup. Cruz Azul is the worst team in Mexico. Pretty simply put. So it is impressive to see what he's been doing, but you can't take the worst team and just put a couple pieces in and start and adapt how everyone's playing around that and just expect it to be humming right off the bat. And Cincinnati is absolutely rocking it right now. They are dominating everybody top to bottom. They are looking fantastic. And I still think it's a tall order to think that he's even going to make it to the Open Cup final and the potential game in Salt Lake. As much as I'd love to see it and be at a game where he's playing, and it's probably my preference, even with I have personal friends working for FC Cincinnati, but like it's still a long shot in my view that he's going to get to the Open Cup final because he's got harder competition through the rest of this cup as well as in the Open Cup.
That hurts my fanboy heart. That hurts my I don't want to believe it, but I mean,
but this isn't MLS 1.0. You can't take one star, put them on a team, and just do everything through that one star. You got to be good top to bottom, at least in some way, have some kind of system in place. And Miami does not have that yet.
Yeah,
Marcus,
it's true.
Marcus, do you agree?
So kind of going off what Keaton says, they don't have a shot at making the playoffs. They're about 12, 15 points out just from that 9th spot being in the last spot. They have a better shot at making a run in the Leagues Cup because next they play Orlando, who Orlando isn't the greatest team. And then now Jordi Alba is with Miami. We just saw that. He's training with the team. So having those three plus Joseph Martinez, we saw what Joseph Martinez and Messi could contribute in the Atlanta game. So I think they have a better shot making around the Leagues Cup. Open Cup, I don't think so because, like Keaton said, Cincy is just looking too hot, too dangerous. We saw what they did already in Leagues Cup, so that's gonna be a tall order.
J-Dog, I need your thoughts on this too, just to complete it.
Yeah, right. Honestly, the only thing I worry about this, right, is the energy. I think since Messi has stepped into Miami, since Messi was introduced there in Miami, I think the energy is high. And I think they showed that in Leagues Cup. I think his presence brings maybe a little more as a team. And that's where I'm worried about is maybe, like I've seen plenty of teams that don't do it, but when you get that kind of caliber player, it brings a lot of energy, not only to him, but the rest of the team. And I think some players just make other people look better. And that's where I'm worried. I agree. Absolutely. Cincinnati looks like, honestly, a juggernaut. And I really don't see Miami making a pass as much. I'm a Messi fanboy myself. I have mixed emotions about him coming to Salt Lake. Being an RSL fan, I really don't want to root against him, right? Other than that, I just don't know if they can get past Cincinnati when it comes to that Open Cup. Leagues Cup, once again, I really think that they had that energy. I really think that they could push through and actually make a decent run into the Leagues Cup. But in the end, I think that FC Cincinnati will pull it out. I think that having that energy from Messi, from Jordi Alba, from Busquets, I think that really will help Miami down the line. I just don't think that they can get past my Cincinnati right now, because Cincinnati's looking really good. And I don't think there's a team in the league that really wants to touch my Cincinnati right now.
Yeah, I definitely. I don't want to meet Cincinnati in the Open Cup final. Let's be real here. I'd rather face a Miami team. I mean,
But
I hope.
I have told Keaton this, I think in past tailgates, where we can't be looking ahead to the final. We have to only focus on Houston, because Houston is
100%.
still a very good team. With Hector Herrera, Carrasquilla, we saw what he did in the Gold Cup, and then Corey Baird, former RSL player. So they're still stacked with players.
Like, I know you're right. I don't want to think it. I know you're right, though.
Especially with going to Houston in August, where it's going to be blazing hot. So
Yeah. So going back to the Leagues Cup, we know that Inter Miami was probably one of the surprises to at least win a game. Give me each of your guys' surprise positive and surprise negative. So a team that surprised you positively and a team that surprised you negatively. From so far the group play. We're gonna start with J Dog first.
Honestly, man, the negatively is I really felt our own team would put a better fight up against Monterrey. I honestly had a feeling that they would pull it out of that game, but I really did not see us getting just absolutely smoked like we did.
But
And
we didn't get
just
absolutely smoked. We did get beat 3-0, but we had almost double the shots they had. We had some
but I feel
awesome
like
chances, more good
feel like
chances than they had. We just weren't finishing. So, like, I get where you're coming from, especially in the stands, being down 2-0. It feels like we are being destroyed.
Yeah.
But if you break down what actually happened that game, we had a great showing. We don't quite have the finishing, but that's really the core problem. An own goal early kind of turns the momentum. And even without that momentum, we're still shooting a lot through the whole first half. So, like, we didn't really misstep. We got a couple just clinical counters off the same little chip pass off the outside of his foot. Like, it feels like we got obliterated because of the scoreline, but the scoreline doesn't reflect the performance in my eyes.
No, I can understand the negative expectation. You were expecting a better result, but I can deal with it.
Yeah. I'm honestly, I think in the end, I knew that we weren't going to get 3 points out of that. I think we all knew that. We all definitely hoped we would have, considering this is the team that beat us in the CONCACAF Champions League final, 12 years ago? And a lot of us still had that personal. A lot of us really still took that personally. I really feel, going back to skiing, I do agree, like, honestly, but I felt like our back line really struggled in that game. And it was honestly surprising to see how much they did struggle in that game. I think, we, like Keaton said, we did have striking and
specifically,
stuff. But yeah, exactly. And I feel like, honestly, that defensive line just really, and Brian Barrett just, it just wasn't really what we've seen for 2 months now. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect Miami and Messi to take really the step that they really did. Granted, like Keaton said, they're in a really, not in the strongest group, but I've seen a lot of players come to MLS, regardless of where they've come from, and it takes them a few games to really pick it up. It didn't take Messi that.
It took him 35 minutes.
35 minutes, exactly. And then next game he's already scoring a brace early. And I think Miami really gelled well. I think they really rallied, like you guys said, is Martinez and Messi look dangerous together. And, and honestly, they surprised me a little bit. I really didn't expect them to turn it up a notch like they did. Just seeing them throughout the season, seeing them struggle in MLS. And then next thing you know, Messi comes in and I'm just like, all right, you know what? Messi's awesome. But I've seen plenty of times where these superstars come and it takes them a minute to get in their groove and help the team out. It did not take that. He went right in like he's been doing for years. And Miami, I think, just jumped off of that and really turned into a team that, who knows? You know what? It's still early. We've seen 2 games, right? But it seems like a game, a type of scenario that, who knows? Can they keep it up or can they not?
I'm excited to see that team against some better competition.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm definitely waiting for better competition to see if Messi can work his magic alone, because we know that he's alone in the midfield. I gotta see it. Marcos, your positive surprise and your negative surprise.
Yeah, my positive is probably going to have to be Mazatlan, because we've seen in past standings for Liga MX how bad they've been. And to surprise everybody, to get 5 points and to win the group, getting 4 goals and 2 scored against them, that's pretty impressive. Beating out an Austin team who made the MLS playoffs last year, beating Juarez team who right now sits like top 5 right now in the standings. So very impressive there. Team that kind of disappointed me so much was Atlanta United. Of course, they lost 4-0 to Messi in Miami, but then playing at home to Cruz Azul in a must-win, and they only scored 1 goal and 5 against them. Like, super disappointing. Thiago Almada didn't really show up in my mind, not converting a penalty in that game against Miami, which kind of would have helped maybe their goal differential. So yeah, that's my take.
All right, I could deal with that. I think there's worse, but let's hear what Keaton has to say.
Yeah, I think my impressive one might be a little premature because the game is literally happening right now. But Sporting Kansas City actually is looking pretty good and getting a result against Cincinnati, actually leading the game currently. They're a team that I view as very bottom of the table. I'm not sure if that's current, but like one of the worst performing teams. And as much as I hate to say it, I'm pretty impressed by what they've done.
Yeah.
As far as my disappointment, that one, I'm kind of just scrolling through and trying to pick one. You know what? Toronto FC is like completely off the rails. And for a team that is like the highest or one of the highest, I guess Miami is definitely the highest now, but one of the highest spends in MLS, for them to just be completely coming apart like they are and, losing everything in this tournament, it's got to be disappointing to be in Toronto right now.
Yeah, Toronto and San Jose were the only 2 MLS teams to not score in the Leagues Cup.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. I will say one other MLS team that really disappointed me was Austin. Austin, even though they haven't been performing the best, I did expect a result somewhere, especially against Juarez and Mazatlan, where you'd think just by the names, you don't hear about them much in Liga MX. But to then come in and lose to both of them, not even to
Especially
get
for having
tie.
both games being at home too.
Let's not even talk about that. They had both home games, so
Yeah,
absolutely disappointing. And my surprise is actually the Chicago Fire. I didn't expect a lot out of them before the tournament, to be honest. But Shaqiri has stepped up his game in this tournament and has helped the team get results. So they win the group with only 4 points, but they
with
win.
a unfortunate penalty loss tonight.
Yeah, but I mean they won the group.
They won the group.
We'll go with last thoughts about, because now we're going to go into the knockout round, and obviously we could talk for hours about what ifs for the rest of this tournament, but I need just a winner. Give me who you think is going to win this whole tournament out of the whatever's left.
Realistic, right?
Oh, you want to be realistic? Okay, let's be realistic here. Marcos, we'll start off with you. Who do you think is going to win out of who's left? Who do you think is going to win?
Of course, I would want RSL, but if we look at the section of the bracket that we're located, I think we're in the section of like the group of death because we have Tigres, Monterrey,
And LAFC.
Leon, who just beat LAFC in the CONCACAF final, LAFC. So I don't, as much as I want, I don't see us sliding anywhere out of there. I'm gonna have to go with Philadelphia because we look at who Philadelphia that route, and they have a pretty simple route to the final because they play DC United first.
Okay. Okay, I can see it. J-Dog, who do you see winning the rest of this?
Oh man. It's tough because I'm kind of honestly, unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna be MLS team. I think we've had a great showing. I look at, like I said before, the two, Monterey and Club America. They really look good. I think they not only that is they've had a great showing when it comes to fans showing up, right? Like this is a tournament placed in America. Like this is not a tournament that has been in Mexico at all, and yet these fans have been showing up. We saw it firsthand at at the riot with Monterey. I think it's gonna. I think it's gonna be Club America. I think they've shown that they are kind of the team to beat in all aspects. But honestly, I also wouldn't be surprised if it was Monterey. I think those are my two kind of ones, but I want to go with Club America.
All right. Keaton.
I between the two, I'd say Club America has an easier route. Like you said, our corner of the bracket is a real rough one. So I feel like teams coming out of that section are both going to be the most beat up and the most seasoned and ready to go. So I could kind of see it going both ways, but it is going to be a hard quarterfinal to make. I'm going to just go on. Oh man, it's hard with 32 teams to just pick one.
Right.
Yeah, let's say Tigres. Tigres is in our that corner of that group of death. But they've got a lot of fans in the United States. A lot of people will be traveling to their games. They do a lot of tours through the US playing friendlies and things. So I think they're like Club America and those teams that have traveling fans kind of have a leg up. But I also think that Liga MX is just still a step above MLS, and I have a hard time picking even Cincinnati as the one coming out on top.
Well, that was pretty much one of the left field predictions. We haven't mentioned Tigres almost at all. That was that's pretty random.
I would go for Tigres, but we see they have too many old players. Like Gignac is 37, and now Nahuel Guzman is like 30, 36, 37 as well. So I'm like, yeah, too many old players. I don't really trust that.
My Club America fandom is maybe in question now, but after that prediction, but
I guess I'll wrap this one up by saying I would say Monterey. Only because of how powerful they seem to look. I think they're going to come out of that group of death corner, and from there it seems to be an easy route down to the final. So
I don't think there is an easy route down to the final.
No,
I think anyone who makes it to the quarterfinals, the semifinals, has demonstrated their quality.
Yeah. All right. I'll agree with that.
Even if you make top 3, you automatically qualify for Champions League. So that's
so you're saying there's a chance.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's go.
Let's cross our fingers.
Yeah. So we're gonna turn the corner here. We're like I said, we could talk forever about Leagues Cup because it's such a great tournament. But I'm gonna give the time over to you guys, Los Caballeros Reales. You guys are a new supporter group, even though you guys have been part of supporter groups. It's a new sector of supporter groups. So between the two of you, I'm going to let you guys explain who you guys are, and then if I have any questions, we're just going to shoot you guys with questions.
Yeah, I think I can kind of take point on it. So I've been super involved with the riot and with supporter culture for probably 7-ish years now. And really aggressively started getting involved in about 2019. And there's kind of a long-standing set of supporters groups that all unified under the riot umbrella. And I've been a huge advocate of the riot. I capo for the riot and did that well before even the idea of doing a new supporters group came around. This year, I think where the idea came from more than anything was the introduction of safe standing and the hope inside the riot and the riot leadership that there was going to be a lot of new fans or existing fans that weren't as involved in supporter culture and singing songs and banging the drums and going to tailgates that were going to be introduced to the supporters groups as a whole, just inherently by the interest that's been shown historically for safe standing. And we kind of didn't quite see it. We are seeing some growth and things are getting better and we're singing together better, but we're not seeing a lot of new faces, is been my main observation. And through conversations with people around the stadium and through finding people who were passionate about the team but aren't present in the supporters groups and with the riot singing songs, I just kind of felt like maybe we needed to take a little more active approach in growing the riot, and was finding that a lot of people felt that these groups were hard to get into, or that like meeting these people is difficult, when it's really not. Everyone's really friendly and there's different processes in joining, and some are harder to join than others, but like in general, the riot is very friendly and it's the friendliest it's ever been. So like what we're really trying to do is just introduce to other people around the stadium, the kind of people who are listening to RSL podcasts, the serious fans that want to see a better environment, that there is a doorway to get into these things. And we want to just create a new opportunity to make people feel welcome to come in. You don't have to have you don't have to have done it before. You don't have to know anyone there. We're all new. So, well, we're not all brand new to the idea. It's a new group and you don't have to worry about any, process of joining or like existing ties or relationships that you may not have. We're all new and we're looking for more new people who want to step up and be a part of it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And J Dog, you're sorry. Go ahead, Marcos. You have a question.
Oh no, J Dog.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about the formation of Los Caballeros Reales, your part in it, and obviously your history with the riot supporter groups?
Yeah, absolutely. So, this is actually my first year as a season ticket holder, first year being really truly a part of the riot. I was pretty much out of state for years. I was up in Grand Teton National Park for 10 years. And whenever I would be in my off season, I'd be down in Salt Lake, and if there was ever a game, I'd always go. And I'd bring my friends. We'd be in the South End, and we had so much fun. And honestly, the whole time I'm like, I want to be a part of this. I want to be a supporter. And honestly, when I decided I was moving down to Salt Lake permanently, I got my season tickets the next day, and I was planning on being a supporter. And, it started out as me and one of my best friends from middle school. We would show up to the games. We had fun. We had a good time. And then I actually got to meet and get to know Keaton. And throughout time, we were on the phone one night, and he just kind of mentioned, starting a new supporters group and further uniting the riot. And I was like, dude, I'm so on board because, like he said, everyone's friendly and stuff, but, as a bystander, it seems to kind of put yourself in the mix of a supporters group. And I was so on board, and I think the craziest thing is our timeline of really truly supporting starting the supporters group is really getting kicked off next season. And it's been crazy because it took us 2 months to really expand our members and to what we have now, which is about what you say, Keaton, 15 to 20 members altogether.
I'd say core
And
members, but
yeah, core members. And we still have people come join us, and we still bring our friends and stuff. And like, honestly, been a blast. I look at, the games as, kind of therapy, right? Like we come to these games and we all get to hang out with each other. And it's crazy because we've known each other for maybe a few months, but I feel like we've become such good friends through it all. And it's been such an amazing process. And honestly, when I first became a season ticket holder, decided I want to be in the supporters section and find a supporters group, I didn't really expect it to happen as fast as it did. And it's been such an amazing process. It's been awesome, meeting everyone throughout the time. In our group, I only knew 2 people personally prior to this year. And it feels like I've known these guys for so long. I feel like we've already becoming a family. We have our little group chat, which we talk to each other every single day. And it's been honestly such a blessing to be a part of something like this. And I'm so happy to be even a part of it. Like, who cares if our motto is, we don't care if you're a founding member, we don't care if you start it, we're all the same, and we're all caballeros in the end. And that's just such a blessing to be a part of. I love it so much. And it's really, I feel like we've done a great job of really uniting the riot even more and getting more people out there, because like Keaton said, a lot of people are just bystanders. A lot of people want to be a this, they just don't know how. So that's kind of our mission, is to really help them see it's really not that hard to become a part of the supporter culture. If you want to come out and if you want to have fun, you want to cheer on your team, you're perfect, because that's what we're here for, right? And in the end, we're all fans of the same team. We all love Real, and I think that's been so special for me growing up and finally, being a first-year season ticket holder and becoming so much a part of the riot as I have. It's been such a blessing.
Yes, seeing Keaton and J Dog, both of you guys' face when I'm at the games on the big screen, I guess right there. Every game, I see J Dog's face every game, just all your passion. I'm like, that's what the South End is all about. That's what we need, and I love that. You guys just starting this group, and that's awesome. I was going to ask you, how can people, I guess you guys kind of mentioned that, how can people join? And then also, how can they learn those chants? Because you guys, every game, are always doing new chants, different chants, some of the old chants. How can they learn some of those?
Yeah, this is something that I've been doing with the Riot for a while, but if you visit riot supporters.com/chants is where the specific chant page is. But that is a list of chants that I started putting together last season and have revised throughout this season, and added some new stuff into the mix. And those are universal. That's not just our group. That is everyone in the Riot has assembled the list together. A lot of English, a lot of Spanish, and you can go there. You can see all the songs. One thing that we're doing with our group specifically is I pick out a specific chant as the chant of the week and ask everyone in the group to learn just that chant, because it's a lot easier to learn one chant in a week and slowly over the season learn all of them versus taking on a full list of, I think there's like 20 on the site. I'm not even sure currently, but it's a much more manageable task. So we're doing a lot to try to get everyone involved. And, we are also a bilingual supporters group. I believe we're the first formally bilingual supporters group, but we are singing in English and Spanish. And as a English speaker primarily, it is difficult to learn Spanish when you don't speak it. So breaking it down into a week by week ask makes it a lot more manageable and makes it kind of an exciting event in the game when everyone joins in this new song that we just learned this week. So there's plenty of ways to learn these kind of things, but I mean, the biggest thing you can do is just show up, read the words. You can pull it up on your phone. We print off chant sheets. We personally, our group brings chant sheets now. So even if they're not all around the section, if you come find us, we can get you one. Just be in the South End and trying to learn. And if you don't know the song, you know, jump around, clap along, try to add to the environment how you can while listening to the people around you who do know the songs.
That's awesome. And in fact, if I could make maybe a request for a future chant, I need the same song that was sung for these guys back here, Muchachos, but I need it either in English or in Spanish, but we need a Real Salt Lake version.
Let's go.
I will,
Let's go.
I will look into it. I've got a book that I write chants with right here. So we've got a long running book of chants that are from various teams and clubs around the world and things that all have some specific or player specific, some team, you know. But
that's awesome.
If people will sing it, I am ready to lead it.
Probably because I have a bias to Argentine league and Argentine songs. Probably because that's it. But that's awesome. I love it.
No, but I appreciate both you guys, not just both you guys, but everybody in the South End, the passion and the love of soccer that they bring just for RSL and the energy every single game. So hopefully that can come out for Thursday night.
And now since you mentioned Thursday, that's a great segue. Perfect. We're gonna talk about Thursday.
You're welcome, Michael Scott.
Okay, Thursday. This is huge. We're going into the knockout round, RSL and Leon. We've already mentioned a little bit about the history of what happened in the group stages, but from each of you guys, I need you guys to give me what you guys are looking for in this game, either improvements or things that we need to keep doing in order to get the result that we need, obviously, to advance. Keaton, we'll start with you. What are we looking for, or what are you expecting out of RSL in this game against Leon?
Honestly, what I'm looking for is more of the same. Like, we on the attack are deadly, and if we can start finishing our shots, we really can beat anyone. I genuinely believe that a couple things go differently, and you know, Pablo's goals change games thing that everyone's super annoyed by. It does have some basis in reality, and one own goal maybe doesn't happen, and that game could turn a lot different. We had so many good chances. We just got to start finishing them. And I think we're going to. I think we're putting together a team that really is solid in the attack. As far as the biggest thing that I would like to see change is just our back line. You know, I called him out specifically. Brian Vera personally had some rough missteps that led to goals. Couldn't quite tell on the replay feed if he was the one that left the striker unmarked on the third goal, but he certainly was
in the area.
It was whoever was right next to Glad, because whoever Glad was marking got triple marked by people who should have been following other players. So specifically, I'd like to see our center backs do things a little different. And guess we lost Justin, but yeah, and our back line definitely needs to take it up a notch. But if we can just keep doing what we're doing in the attack, I think we are a scary, scary team.
Yeah, absolutely. Marcos, what are you looking for?
I'm hoping for a different lineup than we saw against Monterey. So I'm hoping no Beavers. I want McMath to play, because I feel if we're playing in the knockout stage, Keaton's over here. He's over here shaking his head at me. I feel like, in my opinion, since this is a big game, knockout stage, I would rather have somebody of experience, maybe with McMath. But then I wouldn't want to go with Rubin. I feel like Rubin kind of slowed us down. He was nowhere to be found. So I want to see a Moose Chicho attacking up top. But I don't know. I'm kind of still on the fence with with Beavers. Maybe somebody has to prove me wrong,
don't backtrack. Don't backtrack. You said no Beavers. Don't backtrack.
but anywho, so I just want to see us finishing those chances. We had so many good quality chances against Monterey. We just need to find the back of the net in those, and I think we will. And you and I mentioned it to you earlier today, in both games for Leon against Vancouver as well as LA, they played a 3-4-3. So Leon is a very, very strong attacking team with their strong Ecuadorian player Mena.
Yeah, that's true. J-Dog, what are you looking for from RSL in this game?
Honestly, I'm looking for us to rebound, right? Like I said, we just came out with a 3-0 loss. It was tough, especially against a team I think all of us wanted to beat. I think positively it did humble us. I think it did show us, we've been on a really just ridiculous run recently, and I think we needed that loss. Honestly, I want to see our backlines kind of stiffen up a little bit, get back to what they've been doing for the last couple months. Like, I think our defense has been great up until last week, and I think maybe change up the back line a little bit. I think I still have faith in Justin Glad. I think he did have a little rough game in the last game, and I think it did struggle for him when he did have that own goal. However, I think this is a team that, shows that they can bounce back. And like Keaton said, just finish some goals. We're having a lot of attacking opportunities. I think if we can just get that ball in the back of the net in the end of the day, we will win, because we are one of the most dangerous teams in the league right now. And, I really think if we can just score some goals and we can definitely defend just a little better, like that's all we need. I really think we can make a deep run and possibly grab one of those Champions League spots in the end. It's just, we got to score goals, right? That's the name of the game. You got to get some goals in the back of the net or you're not going to go anywhere.
So I got some hot takes then. Because between the Seattle and Monterey game, we had some lineup changes. So here's some things that I might be looking for. Marcos already alluded to one of them, change Rubin out. I just didn't see the connection with Chicho and Rubin.
No.
Do we see Brody come back from concussion protocol? I don't know. I would like to see him back because I don't feel comfortable with Oviedo as a left back.
No.
I don't. In fact, Keaton, you said that some of those goals could have been prevented because Vera did not play well. I think that Oviedo started with the non-marking, which led to Vera not doing well. So
left him hanging out to dry. I can see
kind of. So that's another change I would make. I would put Anelli back in.
Yeah.
Anelli is solid.
I agree. Anelli is a lot faster than Hidalgo. Hidalgo, he just doesn't have the stamina compared to Anelli.
Yeah.
I think Emeka Anelli has demonstrated that he is our first choice, or should be our first choice.
Yeah,
absolutely. And here's my super hot take, and I bet I'm gonna get different reactions from all y'all. I think Palacios should get a start instead of Ruiz.
I can see that. I can see that.
No.
Yeah,
no, so
I can see it.
But here's why. Ruiz didn't have the greatest of games last game. Granted, Monterrey's attack and pressure was up there. And so he didn't have the amount of space that he's had the last couple of games to create. Do we then play more defensively because of how dangerous they could be on an attack? And if that's the case, do we put in a Palacios who's more of a true defensive midfielder instead of both Ojeda and Ruiz as a kind of a center midfielder, defensive midfielder?
Well, we haven't. You can check me if I'm wrong. We haven't seen Ruiz and Palacio play together at all this season, so maybe that duo.
No, don't take out Ojeda. No, that's a non.
That's non-negotiable.
No.
I tend to agree. You can't lose Ojeda. I guess I see where you're coming from with the defensive look, and especially with Lyon being an attacking-minded team. But we also are an attacking-minded team, and disarming our midfield from that long shot attack that Ruiz presents may be kind of kneecapping ourselves in pursuit of trying to fight what they do. I'd rather play to our strengths than to try to counter theirs.
Oh, the hot take for a reason.
Yeah.
J-Dog, if you were to change something in the lineup, would you change something, or who would you change?
Honestly, I do agree. I do agree with Marcos. Like when it comes to Rubin, you know, like he's. Don't get me wrong, his form is getting better. You know, he's getting there. He's not the guy that we saw at the beginning of the year. He's starting to get there. However, he's not there yet. I think we need to change up something with Rubin. You know, give someone with, you know, up there with Chicho that can really perform well and a compliment Chicho. I mean, dude, I feel like Julio complimented Chicho very well from what we've seen. And you know what? I get it. He's that super sub, right? Like, I get it. He's that guy that we put in with 20 minutes left in the game, and he goes gets us a goal. However, I think he has proven, like, I think he has done a lot better with Chicho. And I don't know, dude. I'm a Julio guy, man. I love Julio. Or even
I feel like you're ignoring the most obvious option here in Danny Musovski, who has demonstrated for a full season at LAFC that him and Chicho have some compatibility there. So
absolutely, and it just seemed after that one game with Pablo putting Rubin in, he was just riding too high of Rubin doing so well in the Gold Cup, scoring 2 goals. Absolutely. It's like you can't base his just one game, him coming back, and then throw him right into the fire. So
absolutely. I mean, I do agree with you, Keaton. I think Danny Musovski has also been, honestly, Danny Musovski has probably been, in my opinion, the most impressive player I've seen this year on Real when it comes. I mean, I wasn't expecting him to take as much of an impact with the team as he has. And he really has done well. I don't know, man. I'm still on that Julio train, but at the same time, I can see definitely Musovski. I think Musovski is a baller too, which I do agree with you on that game.
I don't know if any of us have heard. What happened to Krylock? He's like falling off the train.
Don't break my heart, man. Don't break my heart with that.
So I had a hot take on Royal Podcast 2 weeks ago, where I said that RSL can move on from Krylock.
I agree. I agree with you. I think the 2 players RSL needs to fully move on from is Krylock and Silva because of their age. Silva is just being center back. He's just getting beats. Krylock doesn't have the speed like he used to. Karate Krylock, and when we played LAFC, he doesn't have that same.
The one thing that I would disagree with on the Krylock front is when you see Krylock in the game, he is clearly the one that is dictating the press. Everyone is following him, and when he is pushing everyone up, they're pushing, and he's pulling them back, they're pulling back. We look good when we're doing it. So I do think it is a rough situation because he does clearly appear to have missed it, like lost a step in whatever recovery he's been going through. I've heard that he's still continuing to get better. So hopefully there is a time when we get him fully back, but he is getting up there in age. And at that point in your career, sometimes the injuries just never quite go away. So I do see where you're coming from, that it would be nice to see a future where we can move on from that. But I don't see anyone on this team leading a press like he does. And I think that there is space for that.
All right. I'm down with that. In fact, this is what I want from the club and with Krylock. I want them to treat Krylock how we would have wanted Javi to be treated. I need Krylock to be part of the club after he's done playing because of his leadership. We all love his leadership, and it's felt on the pitch. I mean, just like what you said, he leads the press, even though he might just be marking the one guy that he's assigned to instead of running around pressing everywhere. He leads it, he guides it, and so Krylock is needed in the club. I just don't know if on the pitch right now is where his position is. Obviously, because of not only age. Age is just a number, but because of his abilities right now.
Maybe I shouldn't include age in any sentence because we're seeing Messi and we're seeing older players destroy the league. But yeah, I agree with what Alan said. Kralek is better as just that teacher, that older age person, because he's taught the younger guys like Brody, Glad, and even Hidalgo and Anelli, the up and coming players. So I'm glad that he is still on the team.
I think you can rewind 5 minutes and kind of see where we all stand when we're talking about who should be playing for Rubin. And we had Julio and Musovski and not even a mention of Krylock. So it's an unfortunate situation, but
it breaks my heart.
I mean, it's good that we have young talent, that we have promising talent. It is sad to see the older ones go. I mean, it happened with us with Beckerman a couple of years ago. I mean, none of us wanted to see Beckerman retire, but
it happens. It's part of it.
So, let's wrap this up with, I mean, Marcos, you know what time it is.
I do know what time it is.
These two are going to know what time it is.
Oh, we know what time it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's prediction time. It's prediction time. Keaton really wanted to dance. You're like, yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Like, yeah, no dancing. I forgot.
No. This is Footloose. There's no dancing here.
This is a Footloose RSL Bros version.
No, guys. Where's this guy? This guy up here inspired me to dance. Debu.
That was a man, dude.
All right, let's break this down. Give me like quick thoughts and your prediction. We're gonna go J-Dog, Marcos, Keaton, and I'll be last.
All right, man. Honestly, I really see RSL taking, once again, I see them taking that Monterrey loss personal. I think they got a little humbled a little bit with our run, but I don't think it stops now. I think this team, for how many years in the past, is used to being the underdog. Is used to be the one that's slept on. That has been what has made us so successful. Honestly, I see him coming out 3-1. I see him coming out 3-1. It's a hot take. You guys can give me crap for it later, but I see him coming out 3-1. We're going to shock them, and we're going to move on to the round of 16.
Ooh, wow. With the table slap.
Wow.
Table slap. Let's go.
Wow. J-Dog. Leon's a very good.
How do you follow with that?
Leon's a very good team, like I just previously mentioned. They do play that 3-4-3, so very, very strong attacking team. I'm hoping we don't repeat what we did against Monterrey and start off slow. But give me a 3-2 victory for us. I think this is gonna be a very, very, very nail biter at the end, but we're gonna come through and win it 3-2.
All right. What do you got, Keaton?
I like you said, these are both attacking minded teams, so I am expecting an absolute shootout. I think we're going to get a high scoring game. So I'll maybe push it even a little bit further. We're going to go 4-2 for RSL with come from behind.
From behind
to take the lead.
All right. Y'all are smoking something weird, but I think this is going to be a little bit more modest. Because both teams are so attacking, I think there's going to be some sort of hesitation, some sort of defensive hesitation. So I think the score is going to be a little bit lower. It's going to be, oh, crap. All right, I'm going to go regulation time, 2-1 for RSL. We're not going to go extra, nothing. 2-1 RSL. But we all have an RSL win.
We all have an RSL win.
And we might be a little biased, so. But you know what? RSL's coming out with the W, and we're moving on to round 16 is all that matters.
But Thursday night, not Friday night, Thursday night, 8:30. It's a late night, so everybody stay awake.
8:30, awesome.
It's gonna be awesome.
Very late game.
Abuelo will try to stay awake.
Yeah, this dude is the abuelo. He likes to sleep early. So like usually when we finish this, he's like, I'm sleepy. I'm gonna go to sleep. He doesn't even talk afterwards. So, but before we end this, Keaton and then J Dog after, give us your social media handles so that way people can look you up.
Yeah, you don't want to look me up, but what you do want to look up is Los Caballeros Reales on Instagram. That is the account to follow. I don't post, so there's no reason to follow me.
All right. J Dog, do you have any social media you want people to follow?
I mean, I do post a lot of RSL. I do tag Los Caballeros Reales on a lot of it. My name, at underscore or at Justin underscore Bodrero. That is Bodrero. That is my Instagram handle. Follow me. Well, you'll see some great times, and honestly, you'll see what the Caballeros is all about in the middle of it. So yeah,
I love it. I love it.
And if you're watching this and you are interested in joining, because the fans that do pay attention to these kind of things are the most hardened fans, that are the ones that we are most interested in bringing to the group. So find us at the tailgate, find us at the watch parties. I'm going to Beer Bar after we finish this to go support the U.S. women. We are at everything the Riot is at. So just come find one of us or another member, message us on Instagram, and we'd love to have you with us and, show you what we're about.
Yeah, make sure you guys are there Thursday night. Let's pack the Riot because we had too many Monterey fans last game. So we need to be loud, be proud, and let's get a victory so we can make it onto the round of 16. Make sure you follow us, the RSL Bros, at Twitter, at Instagram, and I guess, well, not Twitter. It's all called X now. Threads, at the RSL Bros. And since you're watching this, hit the subscribe button as well. Anything else, Alan?
Nope, I think you nailed it. Just send us off with a goodbye.
Peace.
Ciao.
Bye forever.